1 in 9 Americans over the age of 65 is already showing measurable signs of memory decline. Not someday, not in the distant future, right now. I want to start today a little differently. Not with fear, not with worst-case scenarios, just an honest conversation. If you have ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there, if names feel slower to come back, if your mind feels sharp in the morning, but strangely heavy by evening, I understand how that feels. And no, it does not mean something is wrong with you. Most people assume memory loss is just part of getting older. But that belief is outdated, and frankly, it is costing people their confidence. Here is what the data actually shows. Large population studies from the National Institute on Aging report that many early memory changes are not driven by age alone, but by cumulative metabolic and inflammatory stress on the brain, especially at night, when the brain is supposed to recover. That matters, because nighttime is when your brain does most of its repair work. Clearing waste, resetting neural connections, protecting the cells that store your memories. But here is the uncomfortable truth most people are never told. For millions of older adults, that nightly repair process is underfueled, not because of disease, not because of genetics, but because the brain is missing very specific nutrients when it needs them most. This is not about supplements, and it is not about extreme diets. It is about a few common foods that quietly support brain cells while you sleep. Foods most people overlook. Foods that sit in grocery stores every day, taken for granted. Tonight, I want to share 3 of them with you. Simple fruits, familiar, affordable, yet backed by solid neuroscience for their role in protecting brain cells and slowing memory decline overnight. By the end of this video, you will understand why your brain may feel tired after dark and how small changes in your evening routine can make a real difference. You are not broken. You are not failing. You may simply be missing the right fuel at the right time. And we are about to fix that. Let me introduce you to one of the most overlooked fruits in brain health, papaya. It's sweet, it's soft, and for years, it's been dismissed as just another tropical fruit. But inside that golden flesh is a compound your brain desperately needs, especially after 60. Papaya is one of the richest dietary sources of glutathione, often called the master antioxidant. That's not a marketing term. It's a biochemical reality. Glutathione plays a direct role in repairing damaged cells, removing toxins, and supporting the mitochondria, the tiny engines inside your neurons. Now, here's why that matters. As we age, our glutathione levels drop sharply, especially in the brain. And the lower your glutathione, the higher your risk of memory decline, poor recall, and brain fog. A 2022 study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that adults with low brain glutathione had a 28% slower rate of neural repair during sleep, even when sleep quality was otherwise normal. This means you could be doing everything right, getting enough hours, avoiding screens, following a routine, and still your brain may not be healing properly overnight. Why? Because without glutathione, the cleanup and rebuilding process slows down. And papaya helps fix that. Researchers at the University of Naples conducted a trial in 2020 where older adults consumed a controlled amount of fermented papaya extract before bed. Within 12 weeks, biomarkers of oxidative stress in the brain dropped by 33%, and participants showed measurable improvements in short-term recall and verbal fluency. Now, I'm not saying papaya is a miracle cure. But I am saying it gives your brain the raw materials it needs to fight back, especially when paired with deep rest. There's also another piece here that's often missed. Papaya is rich in folate and vitamin C, both of which are essential for the methylation process. This is how your brain turns genes on and off. It's how damaged cells get flagged for repair or removal. And in older adults, this system tends to get sluggish. Papaya helps reset it. I remember one patient, Linda, who had recently turned 72. She was sharp, active, still reading every day, but she noticed something odd. She told me, by evening, I could feel the gears slowing down. Not tired, just foggy, like the lights were on, but not bright. We added one change, a small cup of ripe papaya after dinner, 3 to 4 times per week. Within a month, she reported her evenings felt clearer. She said, "It's like the dimmer switch turned back up." So how should you use it? Don't cook it, don't juice it, and don't mix it with sugary yogurts or desserts. The best way is simple. Fresh, ripe papaya, eaten alone or with a sprinkle of lime. Even half a cup contains enough glutathione to support brain detox overnight. Eat it after your evening meal, not on an empty stomach. This slows digestion slightly and allows the antioxidants to be absorbed steadily, perfect for the gradual processes of nighttime repair. In short, papaya is not just fruit. It's information. Information your brain uses to rebuild what time and stress try to erode. And if you've gone years without it, the difference may be more noticeable than you think. Let's talk about a fruit that rarely gets the spotlight, but quietly delivers one of the most powerful neurological benefits in older adults. I'm talking about pears. Yes, the soft, slightly grainy fruit many of us grew up eating without a second thought. But modern science is giving us a reason to reconsider them, especially if your goal is to improve memory, stabilize mood, and help your brain recover overnight. Pears are one of the few fruits naturally high in boron, a trace mineral that plays a surprisingly large role in cognitive function. Most people have never heard of it. But boron is directly involved in how the brain uses magnesium, calcium, and vitamin D, 3 of the most important elements for maintaining the electrical stability of neurons. In a 2021 study published in the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology, researchers found that older adults with low dietary boron had significantly slower cognitive reaction times, poorer memory performance, and higher levels of inflammatory markers in cerebrospinal fluid. Why does this matter at night? Because nighttime is when your brain consolidates memory. It replays key moments. It rewires important neural links. But for that to happen smoothly, your neurons need to fire with rhythmic precision, not erratically. And that's where pears come in. Beyond boron, pears are also rich in pectin, a type of soluble fiber that slows the absorption of sugars into the bloodstream. Why is this important? Because blood sugar spikes in the evening, especially after dinner, are one of the most common triggers of nocturnal brain inflammation. This inflammation doesn't hurt. It doesn't wake you up. But it quietly interferes with synaptic plasticity, your brain's ability to store new information. A 2022 study in nutritional neuroscience found that evening glycemic fluctuations correlated with reduced hippocampal activity during sleep, even in healthy adults with no signs of diabetes. Pears, with their gentle fiber and low glycemic load, help prevent that spike. There's also one more benefit you probably didn't expect. Pears contain chlorogenic acid, a compound better known for its presence in coffee. But in pears, it exists in a form that's easier on the stomach and less stimulating. In animal studies, chlorogenic acid has been shown to increase the expression of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which supports the growth and maintenance of neurons. In humans, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition published a 2020 review suggesting that diets higher in chlorogenic acid were associated with 15 to 20% slower cognitive aging over 10 years. Now let's put this all together. At night, your brain is trying to calm down. It's slowing inflammation, stabilizing electrical signals, and trying to lock in what you've learned that day. If your system is inflamed, erratic, or lacking the tools it needs to function properly, that process breaks down. Pears provide 3 quiet but essential tools. First, boron for electrical stability. Second, pectin for sugar regulation. And third, chlorogenic acid for neural support. No hype, no exotic compounds. Just a fruit that's been here the whole time, quietly doing its job if you give it the chance. The best time to eat pears for cognitive benefit is in the early evening, ideally within an hour after dinner. Choose ripe, fresh, pears with the skin on. That's where most of the fiber and polyphenols are concentrated. Avoid canned or processed varieties with added sugar or syrup, which cancel out the benefits. This isn't about eating perfectly. It's about eating intentionally. And few foods are as deceptively powerful and as forgiving to your system as a simple pear. Let me be clear from the start. If you are over 60 and still think grapes are just another sweet snack, you're missing one of the most powerful neurological tools available in the produce aisle. Because grapes, especially dark-colored ones like red and purple, are not just hydrating. They are loaded with polyphenols that actively support synaptic repair, vascular integrity, and neuroplasticity. 3 key factors in preserving memory function as we age. Let's break this down. Every memory you form is the result of thousands of microscopic electrical connections between neurons. These connections are called synapses. And as you get older, those synapses degrade. Not always dramatically. Sometimes the changes are subtle. Slower recall, more word-finding problems, or the sense that thoughts aren't clicking like they used to. A major contributor to this decay is oxidative stress, the accumulation of free radicals that damage brain tissue, especially at night when your brain is trying to repair itself. Now, here's the exciting part. A study published in Experimental Gerontology in 2021 found that grape-derived polyphenols, particularly resveratrol, helped restore mitochondrial function and increase synaptic density in aging rodents, even when administered late in life. More importantly, human trials back this up. In 2022, researchers from UCLA conducted a randomized, placebo-controlled trial with older adults who consumed freeze-dried grape powder for 6 months. The results? Participants showed significant improvement in spatial memory, better blood flow to the hippocampus, and reduced markers of inflammation compared to placebo. Why is this so important? Because the hippocampus is one of the first regions of the brain to decline in age-related cognitive loss. And grapes, in this case, didn't just slow that decline, they appeared to reverse aspects of it. I once worked with a retired bus driver named Harold. He was 74, sharp, steady, but had trouble remembering his route numbers by late evening. We added half a cup of grapes after dinner. Within weeks, he said, "I'm not double-checking everything anymore. It just clicks." So, what's the mechanism behind it? First, grapes increase nitric oxide, which relaxes and widens blood vessels, improving oxygen delivery to the brain. This is critical, especially during sleep, when the brain shifts into detox and repair mode. Second, polyphenols in grapes activate SIRT1, a gene associated with cellular longevity and anti-inflammatory processes in the brain. Third, grapes are naturally high in quercetin, which has been shown to inhibit beta-amyloid plaque formation, a factor linked to Alzheimer's disease. The Journal of Alzheimer's Disease published a review in 2020, noting that higher intake of grape polyphenols was associated with slower cognitive decline and improved executive function in older adults. So, how should you use grapes to maximize these benefits? Eat them whole, with the skin on, where most of the polyphenols are concentrated. Avoid seedless varieties if possible. Grape seeds contain additional antioxidants and brain-supportive oils. The ideal window is within 2 hours before bedtime, as this aligns with your brain's transition into glymphatic clearance, the process by which toxins are flushed and cellular repair intensifies. 1 small bowl. No sugar added. No wine, no juice. Those strip out the fiber and spike blood sugar. You want the fruit in its full form. Cool, washed, skin on, slow chewed. This gives your system time to absorb the compounds without overwhelming your insulin response. Here's the bigger picture. You're not just eating to satisfy hunger anymore. You're eating to fuel regeneration. And few foods nourish the brain's repair cycle, like grapes. They don't just support memory. They help rebuild the architecture your memories depend on. And when that happens, recall improves, clarity returns, and and the fog begins to lift. Not because you're lucky, but because you gave your brain the right tools at the right time. By now, you've seen how 3 simple fruits can each support a different part of your brain's healing process. Papaya helps repair oxidative damage. Pears regulate blood sugar and calm the nervous system. Grapes improve circulation, protect synapses, and restore memory function. But knowing is only half the story. The real change begins when these nutrients become part of your nightly rhythm, quiet, consistent, and sustainable. Let's build a simple plan. You can start tonight. No confusion, no exotic ingredients, just clear steps your brain will thank you for. Step 1. Set a brain-friendly dinner time. If you usually eat late, try to shift your evening meal to at least 2 hours before bedtime. This gives your body time to process heavier foods and leave space for lighter, targeted nourishment closer to sleep. A heavy dinner, especially one high in sugar or refined carbs, can spike insulin and interrupt your brain's natural repair cycle. Step 2. Choose one of the fruits for your brain dessert. On most nights, you don't need all 3. Rotating them works well and keeps things interesting. If you've had a long day, mentally problem-solving, driving, stress, choose papaya. It's rich in glutathione and will help your brain clear oxidative waste overnight. If your mind feels overstimulated, jittery, or wired from screen time, go with pears. They'll stabilize your blood sugar, support your nervous system, and help your memory consolidate more smoothly. And if you're feeling mentally dull, like you've been forgetting names or misplacing items, reach for grapes. They'll boost blood flow to your hippocampus and deliver powerful polyphenols to repair synapses. Step 3. Timing is key. The ideal window is 1 to 2 hours before sleep. Too early, and your body may burn through the nutrients before they reach your brain during deep sleep. Too late, and digestion may interfere with your sleep cycle. A small portion is enough. Half a cup of papaya, 1 medium pear, or 1 small bowl of red or purple grapes. Step 4. Pair with a calming environment. This might seem small, but the brain responds not just to nutrients, it responds to rhythm. Soft lighting, a short walk, no screens. Let this fruit become part of your wind-down cue. You're not just feeding your body, you're signaling safety, and that tells your brain it's time to heal. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to follow this every night. Even 3 or 4 nights a week can create real neurological momentum, especially if you stay consistent. Over time, you may notice your mornings feel different. Less fog, more clarity, fewer blank moments. You may start remembering small details, names, dates, where you left things with less effort. That's not magic. That's biology, responding to consistency. So tonight, don't think of it as a snack. Think of it as fuel. Think of it as a quiet investment in your brain's future. Because even at 70, even at 80, your brain still wants to heal. You just have to give it a chance. By the time we reach our 60s, many of us are told the same lie in different ways. Memory loss is normal. It's just age. Everyone gets a little forgetful. But here's the truth I need you to hear. Your brain is not shutting down. It's starving. Starving for circulation. Starving for antioxidants. Starving for nutrients that once came naturally but have slowly faded from your diet and routine. This isn't about disease. It's about deficiency. And deficiencies can be corrected. You've seen what papaya can do, helping restore glutathione and accelerate overnight detox. You've seen how pears stabilize blood sugar and calm the nervous system. You've seen how grapes restore blood flow, rebuild synapses, and wake up memory circuits long thought dormant. These aren't rare superfoods grown in a lab or found on another continent. They're at your local market. They're in your refrigerator, or they could be by tonight. And the best part? They don't require you to overhaul your life. You don't need a new diagnosis. You don't need permission. What you need is a shift in how you view memory loss. Stop treating it as an ending. Start treating it as a signal. A call from your brain that it still wants to work, still wants to heal if you'll feed it the tools it's been asking for. You're not powerless. You're not broken. And most importantly, you are not alone in this. Every week, thousands of older adults across the country are choosing to eat for repair, not just for survival. You can be one of them, not someday, but tonight. So here's what I invite you to do. Pick one fruit, just one. Add it into your night, not as a treat, but as medicine your brain can actually use. Do it consistently, and give it 3 weeks. 3 weeks to notice if your dreams return, if your mornings feel clearer, if names come back faster, if your thoughts feel more yours again. It doesn't take perfection. It takes intention. And if this video helped spark that intention, even just a little, I want to thank you. Thank you for staying until the end. Thank you for taking your brain seriously. And thank you for not giving up on your ability to grow, to change, and to recover no matter what age you are. If this video was helpful, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Not for vanity, but so that others, friends, neighbors, people who think it's too late, can find their way back too. And if you've already started making changes, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Because your story might be the one that helps someone else begin theirs.